Hi, everybody, and welcome to a very interesting series of videos, I think, for educators here who are being tasked with using Microsoft Teams to do distance learning. I'm making this because I think, first of all, my role in life, my main job that I do most of my time is I'm a learning consultant with Microsoft. So I've done over 500 Teams trainings, I would imagine. And I'm also an adjunct professor, and that's a newer job, and it's one that I have to now think about going back in a week. We're going to do remote learning for the rest of the semester, which unfortunately means I won't see my students. But what I wanted to do is give you a little bit of a breakdown of how I'm planning my course and how I'm actually going to do this stuff. I haven't really fleshed it out yet, so these videos are going to be a lot of me thinking through the process. I think that will be valuable for other folks who are trying to plan for their courses as well using Microsoft Teams. I really do think it's the best tool. I've been using Canvas for the last however long, and Canvas definitely does some things pretty well, but ultimately it's a website, whereas Teams is an app, and that's the difference that I see. So this tutorial, or this, I don't even know what to call this, like a think through video, assumes that you know already how to create a team in Microsoft Teams by clicking on the Join or Create Teams button and clicking on Create Team, and then clicking on the class team and creating a class. Now when you do that, and that's what I've done here, I haven't added any students yet to this class, but you'll notice that it gives me a channel called General, and that is a default channel. It comes in with every single team you create. You can't delete it, you can't rename it, and it's the place where a few things live that are unique. We are going to build this out, though, with other channels, and the channels can really be whatever we want them to be, but they will each contain some content, and so we can divide up the course into content from here. And I have a seed of an idea that I'm going to develop in this video that I think will help. And in this general channel, you'll notice that you have some tabs, and every new channel that I create after this will also have some tabs. Now, the tabs that all channels I create are going to have are the Post tab and the Files tab. And the Post tab, this is where conversations can happen. This is a really important thing because I think with asynchronous learning, which is what I'm planning to do, this really will come in handy. Having conversations, making sure students are engaged, able to use each other for their questions. I think it's going to be very helpful. The Files tab that you get with every channel you create is a file library, and any student can edit the materials in this file list except for those put under the class materials folder. Now that class materials folder is only going to exist under the general channel. All the other channels will not have this. So this is not a place where students are going to turn in work. This is a place where you're going to provide resources that students might need in this class materials folder. There might be some need at some point for you to put something outside of the class materials folder, although for me I can't think of what that would be. I will have students turn in work in a different way, and anything else they need they won't need to edit, so they'll put into class materials. The three other tabs that the general channel has are the class notebook, the assignments, and the grades, and those will not appear in any other channels that we create. Each channel will get its own post section for chat, its own files section for files, but the class notebook, assignments, and grades will only appear on the general channel because they are they show information for the entire class. They are the mechanism with which students will turn in work. So we're going to go into detail into how to use these in a little bit. But right now what you need to do is click on class notebook and click on setup class notebook, and you can make it a blank class notebook unless you've done this before, in which case you probably don't need a whole tutorial on it. Class notebook is going to be a place where students actually do some formative assessment. This is a way to check student skills day to day and to understand where people are. It's a place for students to collect their notes. It's a place for you to do some quick feedback. And then the assignments area is for really the milestone assignments that come in class, the things like term papers, quizzes, that sort of thing are going to appear here on assignments. And then finally, grades will be tracked on this tab as well. All right. We're going to come back to all of that. Today I'm actually not going to be designing this team. I'm not going to be putting tabs and channels in. Instead, I'm going to use a whiteboard to come up with a plan. And I'm just going to detach my keyboard here. All right, so I'm going to use Microsoft Whiteboard for this. Whiteboard is a great collaborative tool for whiteboarding. And I'm going to do some thinking here before I even go back into Teams and start actually setting this up. I want to think through it first before I start creating channels and stuff. And what I want to think about is what channels do I have? And then what tabs are in those channels? And then what will those tabs do? So we'll kind of expand here a little bit. So the first thing in channels is we're going to create, we already have a general channel that is being used. And in that channel, what we've got for tabs is we've got posts. And this is going to be for announcements only. In fact, I may not let students actually post there. I may block that. So we'll do announcements. We'll also say there is going to be a Files tab. And in the Files tab, which is already there, I'm going to post the syllabus. I'm going to post the, I'm sorry for my handwriting, by the way, the syllabus. I'm also going to post the assignments, like the actual instruction sheets. I'm going to post in files, etc. That's really where I'm going with that. Okay, make that a little smaller so we can see it better. We also have the class notebook. We also have assignments. Okay, and those two are going to be where, well, actually, I'll be a little more detailed here. Class notebook is where students are going to do annotations on the textbook. Also, it's where they're going to do what I call their reading journals, which is where they either annotate the text or they turn in notes into the reading journals. I hope that works. And that's what I'll do for class. And then just general notes and resources, perhaps, maybe. Now the assignments, that's going to be for all of the milestone summative assessments. And so by that I mean things like quizzes and tests and papers and that sort of thing. We're going to do that all in assignments. All right, so that is my general. Oh, and of course, we also are going to keep our grades here. There's already a tab for all of these things that came in automatically. This is going to be grade book. Students will be able to see their own grades. I'll be able to see everyone's grade. So that is channel number 1. Put a big 1 here. Okay, next channel. I'm going to create one for every single class. So the first one is April 6th, and this is going to be ... because we're going to do it for every class all the way up to May 22nd. Okay. I don't know how many weeks. I think that's like 7 channels or something like that, but we'll go with it. Now, I won't actually write out May 22nd right now because I want to just start with April 6th. And in this channel, we're going to have a place for posts because that's automatic. We're going to have a place for files. And then I want to create some other tabs because you'll notice that in Teams, you can click this plus button up here at the top where you see the posts, files, class notebook. You can hit that plus button and you can add other things. You can add a form, Microsoft form. You can add a website that has some kind of material on it. You can add all sorts of third-party applications. Down here at the bottom left, you'll see an apps button. And we can add all sorts of different things. Slightly limited in my end here, but I can make this work. Constraints, they're good, I like them. I'll bring back whiteboard. I'll minimize this. Okay, perfect. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, let me just make sure that my video is still going. It looks like it is. Great. So the posts in April 6th, that tab is going to be things like turn-in talks, but online, of course, so they're going to have like group discussions maybe. On topics. It's going to be a place for them to actually communicate about the content as a group, as a class in posts. And I may even do small groups here. I may be tagging people and creating separate threads for conversation, but I think that might be easier to do. We'll see. We'll try it out and see. Files. If there's any like reading material that's important here that's outside of their textbook, I might include that. So reading material not in text. And then I'm going to create some tabs that kind of are like a playlist. So maybe, just maybe, we have one that's labeled 1, and it's a video. Now, I guess I should tell you that the content of this class, I'll do this in a different color here. The content of this class is going to be the cognitive and social emotional development of early childhood. So I'll just say EC. So that's the topic. And so I know that I have to cover cognitive and also social emotional. They're two different chapters in the book. So what I'll do is I'll create a tab that has a video. It's going to be a pre-recorded lecture or some kind of presentation by me. That's going to be, we're going to call that a video on cognitive. That's the topic. And that's simply going to be, let's see, I'm probably going to add that as a YouTube link. So it's going to be its own tab that's just going to take them to a YouTube page, unless Microsoft Stream somehow is working on this end. Then the second thing is going to be an activity. And what I'll do with the activity is whatever I plan, students will do this in groups. So maybe the activity will actually be something that they have to do maybe in class notebook, or maybe it's going to be a tab where it has like a Word doc they have to collaboratively fill out together. Depends on the assignment. It could be any one of these things. Or maybe it's a website where they have to work something out. I don't know. This could really be anything, this activity. I'll have to think through that a little better. The third tab in this channel is going to be another video. My main lecture on social and emotional. So I'm going to try to keep that brief so they don't have a lot to sit through. But I'll make that another YouTube, unless Stream is working. And then finally, activity on, and I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if that's going to be a class notebook or what, but activity on social and emotional. Okay. So the format's going to be, we have video, so a channel for posts where we'll have some group discussions, a channel for files if there's any extra reading material. Then we'll have a video on cognitive, an activity, a video on social emotional, then an activity. It'll be in an order. When they load up those tabs, I want them to know exactly what they need to do to be successful and complete the activity. Now, just for comparison, let's do the next class, which is April 13th. And in this case, the content of the class that day is going to be early childhood review. So we're actually reviewing stuff. And then also we're going to be doing a quiz. That's currently what's scheduled. I have to think through that. But that's going to be what's going to happen this class. So in this case, I've got a new channel, and I've got a place for posts, right? Which again are going to be about any group discussion. Okay. There's going to be the files, because that comes in as a default. I don't know if I'll use that, but we'll just keep it up there. Then I'm going to say one is going to be the review section. And what I'll probably do in the review section is I'll probably make a video that has forms embedded. Now, I don't know exactly how to do this when I'm not working in a Microsoft environment. So I'm sure I can do it with YouTube somehow. It's got to be a tool that works with it. So it has forms embedded into the videos so that they can watch a review, maybe like I'm doing a PowerPoint, and they have to stop and answer a question, and they can get automatic feedback on whether or not it was right. I think that would be a good idea for a review. Then the second channel, I would have the quiz. And that will probably be a Microsoft form. Although I don't think they have forms turned on, so I'll have to figure out how I'm going to do that. But I will make some kind of quiz for them. Okay. So that's how that class will go. And of course, I would keep planning from there. But that's generally how I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to have that be the format. So now what I'm going to do is now that I've figured this out, I have to think next about what these activities are going to look like, how I'm going to actually do them, what the textbook looks like. So I've spent some time working with the text, and then once I have an idea of what to do there, I'll make another video and I'll show how I implement all this stuff. But that's going to be my main idea, and of course the attendance is going to be based around discussions that I have them do. For instance, the activity here, maybe it's a playlist of things they have to do, and the very first thing they have to do is contribute to a discussion that I start on the post tab. And they'll be doing this at all sorts of times of the day. We won't be meeting as a class. Now, the other thing I should mention, though, is that I will create a channel. I was going to create a channel for each small group, but I actually think this might work if I... Apparently I can't draw anymore. That's very exciting. All right, well, I'll come back to this later, but I was going to say I'm going to create another channel called Office Hours, and that's where I'm going to schedule times where I'll actually be in the team, and students can actually reach out to me and talk to me in real time. But I'll talk about that in another video, but that's where I'm starting right now. This is kind of my thought process. So I hope this is helpful, but keep following this series, and you'll see as I build out the team more and more.